Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're in
Yes, we
working
can.
order.
You're in business.
Awesome.
Hi, Michael.
Hi there. It's great to finally meet you.
Can I hang up
Virtually.
now?
Yes, we can hang up now.
You hang up. That'll stop.
Hey, Luna,
Okay, so how's it look?
you look great. And actually, this is the first time I'm seeing your face.
That's right. We're wearing masks. Huh?
And how's it going, Luna? Still keeping the
Huh?
store safe? Luna, she's still keeping the store safe?
Yes, of course.
I think it's only fair that we give a proper introduction to who you are. And you are such a great storyteller. I
Well,
think
thank
it's best
you.
if it's done by you. So, Yolanda, aka White Antelope, welcome to the podcast with the other half. We're very grateful that you made the time to be here with us today. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit for our audience?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on this podcast. And welcome to Oklahoma Native Art. A lot has happened since you left.
Oh,
I
yeah?
think you need to come and spend a couple more weeks here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I am 100% coming back.
So
And-
yeah, this is Luna.
Mhm.
She's our security dog, and she's also the official greeter.
And she does a great
hi.
job at both of them.
Let's say hi. So everything going good with you?
Yes. As I mentioned, the mayor's office just reached out from Oklahoma City
That's
for
awesome. That's
interview that's
great.
coming up. We're going to dedicate the month of November in honor of the Indigenous Heritage Month. We're going
Great.
to.
And I have other people for you to talk to too.
Oh, very much. Thank
We
you.
need to talk about that.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So for the month of November, we'll be releasing a series of podcasts with Native American artists, filmmakers, members of the Native American community in Oklahoma. And we're very excited about that. And we'll also be doing one with Sandy Medrano about the grand opening of the First Americans
The
Museum.
museum.
So we're very excited about all that. But
Well,
yeah.
I know so many people that I could really help you out for that month, because there's a lot of different music, like you say, music, art, or bikers. There's just so many people, that I can get you in touch with.
That's awesome. See, I don't think Mikey knows this, and I mentioned it briefly, that White Antelope is actually a biker. She doesn't seem like it, but if you see the old photos, you'd be blown away.
I look forward to seeing those photos.
Yeah. So
I don't actually drive a bike anymore. I'm going to be 74 in October.
Oh, you
Get outta
definitely
here.
don't
So
look like it.
I still have one more big trip, and I think we need to plan that one to New Mexico.
yeah,
Okay.
we discussed it a little bit. Let me know. We are so down. You just let me know, and we'll be in the support vehicle with you. On the
Definitely,
ride.
definitely.
So, White Antelope. Before anything, tell me about the name. Where does that name come from?
Well, it was given to me. It's supposed to mean that I am like a free running antelope, right? Freedom. It means freedom. But I wish they'd have called me something like Little Bear. Then I could hibernate a little bit more instead of running so wild. But hey, the name fits. And
That's
so I've been an artist ever since I could remember. But I started doing a lot of art shows from state to state. I've been all over the United States. And so I started my art shows probably like in 72 is when I started traveling and doing art shows. And like I said, I've traveled all over. I opened a gallery several different times. And when I moved to Oklahoma, I opened a gallery in the year 2000. I started out in Bricktown, which is downtown Oklahoma City. And then in the year 2006, Oklahoma Native Art moved to the Stockyards. And the Stockyards is kind of old Western. We've got businesses here that have been here 100 years. Cattleman's Restaurant. There's other stores like for saddlery and hats and just all kinds of Western. So it's very kind of old cowboy, right? You went to the saloon and you felt like you were back in the cowboy days, right?
I did go to the saloon, and I met bourbon connoisseur, an expert who's going to be on the podcast coming up. Plus, I met a real life cowboy who breeds.
That's so funny because I
yeah.
see cowboys every day.
Well, for me, it's like this is cool. It's the first time I sat down with someone, drank some bourbon, and chatted about horses. And he breeds performance horses that perform in Las Vegas.
Wow.
So he calls himself the Horse Whisperer, and invited me down to his ranch to come talk about his horses and ride his horses. I'm very excited about that.
That is great. That's great. Well, when I moved here, you know, to me, it was like cowboys and Indians. What could be better, right?
Right.
And so I liked Bricktown, but it was a little, you know, it just didn't feel right compared to moving here. And I love the Stockyards. So the gallery here, I've got just so many things to offer. I do horsehair pottery. And that's pottery that I fire with horsehair, which actually I have a piece here to show you.
Yeah, please show the audience.
This is one of my horses.
I saw that in person. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so all these little lines that you see, that's horsehair. So I fire my pottery with horsehair, and every single piece comes out different, because the hair just does what it wants to do when I apply it. So when I do my pottery, I fire it twice. The first time I fire it with a high temperature, so that way it can become glass-like, you know, pottery hard, right? Here's another piece.
Wow, look at that.
That one's pretty cool.
That
and so I fire my pottery twice. The second time I do a high fire, I take the pottery out of the kiln and I apply the horsehair on it. And the hair just sizzles and it soaks into the pottery. So you get all these cool designs. The technique itself was designed from a girl that was back in 1964, I think. And what happened is that she was firing her pottery, and when she took the pottery out of the kiln, she had long hair, and her hair hit the pottery and did those neat designs.
Oh, wow.
So she was like, oh, cool, this is nice. But of course, she wasn't going to use her hair. So she started using horsehair. And we've used buffalo hair. I even tried some of Luna's hair because she's got plenty of it. But hers doesn't come out very good. The horsehair seems to do the best.
Yeah, I know. And I fell in love with this art. I actually picked up a few pieces from you. Well, few being an understatement. But
oh, yeah. You had a good time, didn't you?
I had a great time. This is one of the pieces that
the wedding vase.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. I'll just put a photo up later on. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that vase.
The wedding vase, when a couple gets married, the person that's going to perform the ceremony, he presents the couple with the wedding vase, and he makes a certain potion that the couple is going to drink from. So they each drink from each side. And if they don't spill any at all, it's going to be a very great, harmonious type of a life that they will have while they're married.
Mm-hmm.
If they spill some, then it's going to be a little bumpy. I tell everybody I spilled some at all three of mine. So
I remember that. I remember you telling me that. That was great. Yeah, I was telling Michael that I've had such a amazing experience just hanging out with you. I went to because of her friend Sandy. She was the person who gave me the private tour at FAM, and when I wanted to buy some authentic Native American souvenir, she said, like, I'm gonna call my friend White Antelope, and you have to go over to her place. I'm like, sure. So I go over, and I end up spending, what is it, 3.5 hours?
oh my
Just-
God, hours! You were here forever. But
Oh,
the
I'm
thing
sorry.
is, it went by so fast, and it just seemed like I've known you for so long that we just talked and talked and talked. And there are so many things that we could have talked for days.
Oh yeah, I had
So,
such a great
yeah.
time chatting with you. I didn't even realize it's been like 3.5 hours till I stepped down. I'm like, wait, how long was I there for? Because I just loved your store with everything that was there, all the different kinds of art and your stories. My God, you were such an easy person to talk to, and you were so wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we represent probably about 32 different tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And from paintings, baskets, Kachinas, a lot of sterling silver jewelry.
Yeah.
I have always prided myself in making unique pieces that nobody else does, or things that really matter, that have a story behind them, And we get people coming here from all over, out of state, no, out of town, just
Back and forth.
from everywhere.
What?
So the stories behind the artwork is what people are really interested in, the history. I tell people, you don't just come here to buy something, you come here to learn. There's so many people, whether they are from back east or wherever they're from, other states, they are so interested in all our culture, And right now, I think is the best time to reiterate all the history that has not been told.
Oh, absolutely. I also wanted to because since we're talking about all the different types of artwork that you have at your store, I do think it's an amazing time for us to share these and get other people more exposed to it. I wanted to go over a few more little goodies that I collected from your store.
Oh, the buffalo.
The buffalo, yes. I got the little one too. My father has the little one because my father was actually the first person who's ever told me about bisons when I was very young. And, at that time, they were still very endangered. And it was only found in the American, Midwest and the American West. So that's why Gabe brought that little one that you make as a token for him, because he's one of the reasons that I, love to go out on adventures and find and explore things. So
Did
tell
you
me a
like
little.
it?
Oh, I loved it.
Did
He
you like
loved
it?
it. He
Good,
loved it.
good.
And I kept the big guy for myself because I just love this one. It's a little greedy, I know. But tell me a little bit about this sculpture.
We're known for buffaloes, eagles. They are our sacred animals because the buffalo is the one that helped the tribe survive. Without the buffaloes, we would have just been lost. Whenever they did kill a buffalo for food, they used every single piece of it. They used the hide. They even, sinew is what you call a thread, sinew. And the sinew was made from the intestines of the buffalo. They would cut it really super thin, and this is what they would sew their hides with, their clothes, and they made, their leggings, moccasins, their shirts. robes, buffalo robes. And so, that's why the buffalo is so honored. And it's like our eagles. Our eagles, we honor our eagle because we believe since it flies the highest, then, sorry about that.
No worries.
That one will have to be edited.
No, I mean, it's all authentic. He's doing his job. She's doing her job. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she is.
She is.
So,
Oh no, I saw it
anyway,
live. She's very good at her job.
we believe that the eagles carry our prayers to heaven because they fly the highest. And so everything that we make with feathers, we use turkey, we use dove, we use, all the feathers, anything that we can find that is nature, we try to incorporate it in our work, and it's an honor that we do to these animals.
Yeah. So speaking of eagles and stuff, I'm just gonna show a few more things that I picked up at your gallery, and I don't
See,
think
Michael, he had too much fun shopping.
Trust me, I've been there.
Yeah. I brought him back. I gave him the rabbit fur that I got from your gallery, and she has so much of it. And again, just the collection is just so vast. It's just you have so many different types of things there, and they're all incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely not like a generic shop where you go to New York and all you see is just like mimicatures of the Statue of Liberty and snow globes. It's just authentic, genuine stuff. It's like if you gave somebody something like this, it came from like
it has spirit.
It has spirit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is that like here in the gallery, didn't you feel like very peaceful, calming?
Yeah.
There's people that come here during their lunchtime just to say that they're gonna, just chill. And now I can go back to work and handle the rest of my day because it's just a very calming place. But there's so much to look at. There's so much to just enjoy. And I enjoy people shopping because I feel like I even shop with them, and I'm like, when they try on jewelry, I'm like, oh, look at this. Oh, that's so neat. I like that. And they'll go, oh, let me try that ring on. Oh, no, I think I like it myself. But that's the one they want the most. So then we end up selling it, of course.
Well, you make some pretty cool stuff as well. Like you make a lot of jewelry yourself. And I mean, some of your...
I do a lot of the beaded stuff, all the necklaces, bracelets, earrings, lot of jewelry.
And you make these beautiful dream catchers as well. My mother loved your dream catcher that I bought from you.
Good.
The big turquoise one that you just recently made. That was really beautiful.
I told you needed that 3-foot big one. That's for big dreams.
Yeah, I've asked you to cut me off at like 200, and then I've asked you to cut me off at 500, and next thing you know, we're past 700. I'm like, okay, I had to leave.
Hey, I did cut you off. You just wouldn't listen.
How could I? When I found, so there's things like these, and I know these are not made by you, but this is the one with eagles.
Oh, that was painted the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Navajo artist makes that one. Bagay. I think he's a Bagay. And he's from New Mexico. He's from Gala. And he's the only one that does that style. But boy, he's so good. So I love carrying his work because, I want to have this room with all my pottery, but hey, I need to share too with other potters.
Yeah, some of his work were really beautiful. And if you, I would love to reach out to him because here's another one, and this is one with horses.
The canoes, yeah. He does beautiful colors, and his just color scheme is everywhere.
It's perfect. And here's one with and Mikey, we're gonna put up some photos of this on top of the video later on, just so our audience can see it better. Like this one, this is it with the bisons. But if you look closely, the mountains in the back is shaped like a wolf's howling. It's very beautiful. Yeah, do you see like a wolf sitting there? And then on this side, it's a wolf howling. It's really cool stuff. And this is why I couldn't leave your store, or your gallery rather, because every time I try to walk away, I'm like, wait, look at that thing. So yeah, tell us a little bit about these this artwork. This is you mentioned that this was from a Navajo artist.
Correct. And he's from Gallup, New Mexico. He's the only one that does this style. And so I don't know what the process is of how he does it. You know, a lot of people don't want to share their secrets, right? Me, I tell everybody everything, because if somebody wants to do it, hey, go ahead. You'll only do it once. And then you'll be going, nah, that's too hard. I ain't doing that. But his work, you know, is all over. A lot of people carry his stuff, and they should as well, because it's beautiful, and we sell a lot of his pieces.
Now, I'm going to go on to some other pieces of work. This was, I initially had wanted to buy the bigger version of this, but then that was quite expensive. But I will come back to your store. But tell me a little bit about these guys.
Oh, the Kachinas. Yeah, there are actually about 800 different kinds of Kachinas. And the Kachinas, what they do, it is the spirit of everything living. It can be everything in nature, whether it's animals, the sun, the sky, the moon, everything that has to do with nature. Kachinas are hand carved, and there's Hopi, there's Zuni, there's Navajo Kachinas, and each tribe has a different style of making them. The Hopis like to use one solid branch. Zuni Kachinas also. They are like this Kachina. This is called Kokopelli. No, he's not. Yes, he is. Okay, that's Kokopelli. Kokopelli is kind of a trickster. In different tribes, they mean different things. With our tribe, what he does is he goes up and down the corn rows when the corn is growing, and he plays his flute, which this is his flute. He plays his flute and he dances up and down the corn rows, and they're so happy they just grow and grow and grow. So to us, he's a fertility for our harvest. Wow. To other tribes, he is a fertility statue. So we don't hold that too long. And then we have, this is a cloud Kachina. He represents the clouds. So there's the sun, like I said, the moon, and everything like that. Like I was saying, the Zuni and the Hopi were the ones that do from a solid branch of cottonwood, and they can be as big as they want to make them. The Navajo Kachinas, what they do is they will make the arms, the legs, and then attach them to the body, where the other ones are solid, made from just one big branch. So they are a little more expensive because it's a lot harder to do.
Gotcha. Now there's also much bigger versions of them, because I saw one in your gallery that was bigger than me. And
guess what? I sold it.
No.
Yes. And you know who bought it?
Who bought it?
Amazon.
Amazon bought it?
Amazon is opening a new place here in Oklahoma, and they wanted to honor the Native American Heritage Month. And so they sent their buyer over to buy something that represented Native Americans. She fell in love with the Kachina. She sent a picture back. They said, do it. And I sold
Did you
it.
charge them 3 times the price?
No.
You should have.
Huh?
Because they're going to sell it for 20 times the price.
But they're going to put it under glass, a big glass case. So she's going to send me a picture of it when she gets it all put it together.
Well, that's awesome.
And then
Congratulations.
She bought a bunch of other stuff to represent different work, like the dream catcher and a Cherokee basket and a Kachina. And she bought a whole bunch of different things so they could set up a whole display during the month of November that would represent Native Americans.
I'm a little hurt that it's sold because I was going to come back and purchase that, but I'm happy that, you know, the artist work is out there. And plus that was a pretty, iconic Kachina. Is it still a Kachina doll if it's that big, or do you call it something else?
It was an impressive piece. Now that artist said that's the only one he was doing. It was too much work and there will never be another one like it. Yeah. So you're right, I should have charged a lot more just because of that.
Also because they have the bank account for it.
Yeah, really. I didn't think about that at that time. I was just so excited that they were wanting to represent Native Americans. I mean, we're talking Amazon, right? I mean, who would have time to think about things like this? But she said, nope, they definitely want to honor all the workers that are there that are Native American and to honor that month.
That's great. Well, I'm really happy that's happening. I just hope that they do right by it, because it is Amazon. And since they're opening up something in Oklahoma or near you guys, they should definitely pay respect to the culture that, you know, that's there. Well, thank you for sharing the stories about your art, and we can go on about your art forever, but I don't know how much time you have. I do want to also hear a little bit about your other stories, because many would not think this from looking at a very beautiful woman with a hat and jewelry, that in your past life, you were a bit of a badass.
That's funny to hear you say
were.
that. Oh my God, are you really going to go there?
Yeah, I think people need to hear a few of your stories, and which you did promise me that once we get on the podcast, you will share a couple of those stories. What, if you would be so kind to share, what were you doing early in your life as a career?
There's just so much to tell, so much to talk about. I'm a retired law officer, and I retired from Extradition. I used to transport prisoners all over the United States. So whenever they escaped and they were caught somewhere else, I would fly out, pick them up, and bring them back. A lot of times we drove, if it was within driving distance, like New Mexico, Arkansas, you know, any place close, we would drive. I traveled with a partner all the time. And so I did this for 20 years. So I retired in, I already had the gallery and I was in Bricktown when I retired. So it had to be like in 2004, somewhere around there is when I retired from the Department of Corrections.
Now, if I remember correctly, there were times where you had to go undercover to find people. There were times these people were dangerous criminals. They were murderers and violent criminals. And you were this very brave and badass person who decided that, yeah, I'm going to go and capture
You keep on
people.
saying badass, I'm going to start thinking I'm still a badass.
You still are a badass. I met you in person. I can vouch for that. You still are very much a badass. So tell me about some of these stories. You were in undercover. There was a one that you told me about where you were on a plane and there are two prisoners and you had to make emergency landings.
Yeah, this one, my partner and I, we were to pick up two prisoners in two different states. So we left here. We would always fly into the state that we were picking up a prisoner, and we would report in, let them know we were there, and so they could have their files and everything ready for the inmate to leave the next morning. So we flew into, I think it was Colorado, where we picked up one. And so we pick up this guy, we fly to the next state where we picked up the other one. Well, little did we know that the other inmate had medical problems. I mean, we had files, but it didn't say anything in there, whether, he was susceptible to flying, medication, or what. I mean, we just got this file, looked it over, nothing put a red flag up there. So we go ahead and we enter the plane. We're all ready to fly. Of course, I asked them, you guys are okay with flying? You don't panic, nothing? No, we're okay. So my partner's sitting across from me with his inmate. I'm sitting over here with my inmate. I am on the aisle, he's by the window. Our inmates were always handcuffed. Back then, we were allowed to carry a weapon. Nowadays, of course, you can't, but back then we did. And they would always sit, officers and prisoners, all the way to the back. So people never knew, we were the first ones on, the last one's off. And so people never knew that there was a prisoner back there. So we start flying, we're laid back, doing pretty good. All of a sudden, my partner's prisoner starts just shaking and shaking. And I don't know if maybe he planned to escape. He's faking this, so we stop and they both talk to make an escape or what, So I'm looking over there and my partner's going, he doesn't know what to do. This guy is shaking and shaking. So we called the stewardess. We said, is there a medical person on board? We need to have this person checked out. And I'm still watching my inmate to make sure he doesn't make any moves. The stewardess comes back and says, yes, we have a nurse that's on board. So we said, okay, this guy needs to be checked out. So in order to secure him and my prisoner, I tell mine, let's go to the back. So we go to the back, I make him face the back, and I've got my hand on him, he ain't going anywhere. My partner's still over there trying to find out what's going on with my guy, the other guy. And so the nurse says he's having a seizure and we need to make an emergency stop. And boy, are we gonna have all these mad people because they're all gonna miss their flight. So she goes up to the captain, tells him we have to make an emergency stop. They're calling an ambulance. And so wherever the next place is, we're gonna land. And yes, everybody started being so angry because they were all gonna be late. So I'm still back there with my inmate. My partner says, we're gonna have to stop and get off this plane. So we emergency land. There's already an ambulance waiting for us. And I'm still suspecting, something's going on with this guy. He's pretending or something. No, so we get off the plane and he goes to the emergency with that guy to the hospital. I have to go to the sheriff's office and take my inmate to a local jail. So that way they can put him in jail, hold him for me, so I can go to the hospital and see what's going on. So, it's all like, you just play it by ear. You don't know what to do. You're not really trained for that type of situation because who would have known, right? And so I get mine put away in a jail. He takes his to the hospital and no, he was having a seizure and we didn't know that he was a diabetic. He didn't have his medication that morning. And so we're out here not knowing what's going on. So finally, that guy settled in. Our luggage is gone. We have nothing, not even a toothbrush. So we end up having to spend the night. And this guy is finally set with his medications. Everything's good. So probably in the middle of the night, we're able to discharge that one. Take him to a jail cell, hold him there. And the officers really nice. They gave us little kits with a toothbrush and some deodorant, whatever. So then we go and stay in a hotel till the next morning. But we have nothing. We have no luggage. We have nothing. So I'm sure we look like heck on the next day. So then we had to go to the airport and get new tickets in order to put us in new flights. And it was just a headache and a half. So we ended up doing okay. We finally got our inmates together, head to the airport, head back to Oklahoma. By the time we got here, that's it. We are so tired, so done. But I still had to make that phone call that they didn't tell us anything about this inmate. And it could have been a life and death situation, you know? And so I got to tell somebody off just a little bit for that one.
Well, see,
but we done good.
Yeah, you kind of lucked out that this wasn't a it wasn't a plot or anything, what you
Yeah,
had suspected.
it could have been. It could have been. You never doubt anything. Never. Because you never know what these people are thinking. We are the only thing besides their freedom. Okay, we're the only thing that stands between their freedom again. And so, yeah, you never know. But I love my job. I love what I did. I was actually the only female officer in extradition for the state of Oklahoma. And I was the first Native American, the first female to have gotten an award.
For, what is the award for? What was the award for?
It was for, I got 2 awards. One was for being a supervisor, and the other one was for help this other escapee that I got. Yeah, that's another long story that you'll have to hear someday.
Yeah, I would very much like to. No, so I think what's most nerve-wracking for me about that story is that, thank God everything worked out fine. I'm recording that. The tension when you're on the flight, thinking, hey, what's happening? Is this a plot, or is this something that they've planned before? Or, are they, if when they're distracted, is this guy going to attack me? Those kind of, like, when you're telling me the story the first time, I'm like, holy crap, I don't know what I would have done in that.
Well, you're always on edge. You're always on edge. You're always looking over your shoulder, looking around you all the time, because you never know. You just never know. And, we had a couple of situations once where a family member followed us. And so you have to be ready to deal with something like that.
And you mentioned that you also went undercover a few times, correct?
I didn't hear you.
You also went undercover a few times?
Yes.
How was that? What kind of situation did you go into undercover in?
That's the long story.
Okay.
That one's going to take a while to tell. So I'm not sure yet if I'm ready to tell that story. I had told you that there's some stories that I'd have to probably tell after I'm gone, so that way they won't come after me.
Well, as much as I want to hear that story, let's not hope for that at all. I would rather not hear the story than have you gone. I want to have more of these chats with you, and whatever stories you can share, I would love to hear them. Now, okay, so what made you transition from being this badass extradition officer to choosing to work on your art and open a gallery? What was the deciding factor for that transition?
I always felt that it was, so spread apart, being a law officer and also being an artist, but I think it was the connection, being an artist, that would help me through being in law enforcement. It's because there's so much pressure and you really need an outlet. And that was my outlet, and it still is even now. If I'm stressed or whatever, all I have to do is start working on art, and it's the greatest release. I get to be able to transform my energy into beautiful artwork, and then I appreciate everybody that collects it. So Oklahoma Native art has been a whole new world for me, and just sharing is what's so important, sharing all my stories and my work, of course.
No, it's amazing.
And then, like you said, as far as my life is concerned, in about I think it was 1972 when I bought my first motorcycle. So I started riding a bike back in 72, and
Nice.
I loved it, but I dumped my bike twice. And the first time I hurt my knee really bad. So then I didn't learn from that experience. I would continue to ride. But as my kids got a little bit older, I really started becoming concerned with the fact that, you know, what would happen if something happened to me, or I was laid up in the hospital, you know, for a long period of time, because I was divorced, and who was going to provide for my children. So that's what came in mind of not being so much riding a motorcycle as much as I used to. But I love riding. I love everything. Just it's such a different experience to be able to go down the road, have the wind in your hair, and be able to see so much. You could smell the grass. You could see so much more than being in a vehicle. Now I still belong to two different motorcycle clubs. In fact, I brought show and tell.
Look at that.
This is my vest.
Wow.
For the Oklahoma Native Indian Bikers. So this is a local club that we have here in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Our Native bikers do a lot of work as far as they escort military people that have lost family members. We do a charity for an orphanage, raise money for them. During Christmas, we give gifts to this orphanage house, and do like Easter hunts for them. We just do a lot of things for our people, you know. And if anybody needs help, they just finished building a physical ramp. What do they call those ramps for a disabled person?
Like
Okay.
The club,
wheelchair accessible?
Yeah.
yeah, the club built a brand new ramp for someone that was in need of one. And so there's a lot of things, benefits that they do, and benefit runs.
That's awesome.
The other club that I belong to is the Hopi Honor Riders. Okay, that's the Hopi and Navajo Bike Club. And so they also do a lot of benefits and a lot of runs, but the Hopi Honor Riders were, they started in 2003, and mainly because Lori Puisiwa is the very first Native American that was killed in action. And after she passed on, her cousin, Bobby Martin, he is the president of the Navajo Hopi Honor Riders. The group is about 300 strong, and every single year, they do a run to Four Corners. They are out of Arizona. And so bikers come from everywhere to do this run. And what it is they honor the Blue Star families, the Gold Star families, but mostly they go to all the Gold Star families, the reservations that people have lost their sons and daughters. And they do this run every year. And we had, I did it 2 years ago, and we had bikers from Canada.
Wow.
And Wisconsin. They come from everywhere to do this one run. I had never done it before, and it was the most humbling. I mean, we cried with families. The families felt like their loved ones were not forgotten, whether it was sons and daughters after that. And so it's a 5-day run, and we go to all 4 corners. And I've never spent 5 days on a motorcycle. I felt it at the end of the trip. I don't think I could walk for quite a while, but it was just amazing. I mean, I love this, and I would love for you to be able to come on one of those runs, because like I said, it really humbles you, and to be able to meet these family and hug them and cry with them, and to know, you know, you feel the pain of all these lost ones, but it's such an honor.
And I just want to clarify for our audience, when you say killed in action, this is killed in action with the U.S. military in the wars in the past decades, whether the Afghanistan conflict or the Iraq conflict, correct?
They have a website. It's the Navajo Hopi Honor Riders. And there you could see pictures and, you know, a lot of stories from the bikers, that the things that we do. She was, I want to say she was 24. I may be mistaken, but she was young, and she had 2 children. So when she passed on, her mom had to take over and raise her children. And so the children now, they're young adults, and they are there when we go to her mom's house, and they will house us for an evening. They feed us, and oh my gosh, these people are, they have so much gratitude. You know, one of the places that we went to was a high school gym, and the kids, they all know why we're coming. And like I said, we honor these mothers, and there will be maybe 10, 15 at a time, you know, the mothers and fathers and family that we go and we give them gifts. And we want to let them know that we will not forget what they are doing for our country. You know, some people pass on, and the parents, you don't know how the parents feel, you know, and they feel like maybe their loved ones were forgotten, but we will never forget. So every single year, this ride will go on. And yeah, I look forward to it, because maybe next year, maybe by then you and I, you know, like I said, I'll be 74 in February, but I'm still ready to ride.
Awesome, love it. You got your hands on so many different things, and you're doing so much for the community, not only through art, not only in your past life, you know, keeping the community safe, now even, you know, paying honor, giving honor to these people who have served our country and taking care of their families. It's so much that you're doing. I do have a few other questions for you in regards to that work, but before we even get into that, I just want to find out, because there's so many different, as you mentioned, there's 39 different nations in Oklahoma alone that have come together in that area, that, you know, and there's so much different heritage and culture because each Native American tribe or nation is unique and different.
There are more different tribes in the state of Oklahoma than anywhere else. Most of the states will have maybe 6, 8 tribal centers. Here in Oklahoma, we've got 38 offices. Wow. So that shows you how many different tribes are represented.
And may I ask, what's your background? Which tribes, which nation are you from?
I'm affiliated with the Acoma tribe, which is Sky City in New Mexico. When I was born, my mom got sick, and I was taken to foster care, as many families have. And my mother was quite ill for quite some time. So I was also adopted into the tribe. Now, when a tribe adopts you, it is like being, of course, your own family. You know, they are forever. You know, your mom and your dad, your sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, everything. And so I was lucky enough in that way to be able to, you know, be a part of my adoptive family too.
Now, you just mentioned that once you're adopted, you are, they're your parents forever. Just like that, so many things in Native American culture seems to be just about family, about community, about keeping the heritage and passing that on. How do you do that in constantly growing modern world, and where things outside of the heritage or outside of Native American culture is so attractive to many young people that they often kind of drift away from their heritage or culture, because there's so many celebrity culture, there's so many things happening. As we used to say about how do we break down Soviet Union, was blue jeans and rock and roll, right? When you have those things all around you, how do you try to keep your culture and heritage intact? How do you pass it on to the next generation that is often distracted? And what role does art and your gallery and places like that play in maintaining and passing on this heritage? And I know that's a loaded question, but
See, I just think that everyone has a talent. A lot of people just never discover it, right? So young people need to be able to find their niche, right? And so if you offer them different things, and it doesn't matter what age they are, they can start by drawing, they're attracted to beadwork. They have to try different things. But we're losing a lot of that because, again, the young people, like you say, they're taking up with their iPhones and their computer games and everything like that, which really I wish that we would be able to instill in our young people, that they need to keep more with their heritage and their language, especially their language. So many overlook the fact that they are so blessed, to have the ability. Now here in Oklahoma, they are introducing language classes, Native American classes, finally, which is great, because how past history, you weren't allowed to speak that language. You weren't allowed to express yourself that way. And now that you can, they need to take advantage of this. We've lost so many jewelers, unfortunately, to COVID. We are hurting on the reservations because of the lack of whether it's medical, supplies or the water or whatever that can be. But there's so much help that's needed, and if they would understand that our young people, we have to keep them on track and try to teach them more and more. I've got a granddaughter that now, after all these years, now she is interested in wanting to find out more about, doing some artwork and beadwork. And so, hey, I'm ready to teach her whatever it is she needs.
That's great. That's great. So what role do you think that your places like your gallery play in preserving and passing on this culture and this heritage?
Well, it gives people an avenue, to Oklahoma Native Art's always been proud to show the different types of work from different, tribes. Every tribe has their own specialty. And so beadwork, Cherokees do beautiful beadwork. Other tribes do beautiful clothing. There's other tribes that are great at farming. And so there's just so many different avenues that, we are able to present, let's say, to people that come here and they're full of questions. And they always apologize for taking my time for, answering all these questions. No, I really accept any type of question, because if I know the answer, I will give it to you. If I don't, I will tell you where you can go and get more information that is needed.
Well, that is great. Yeah, thank you so much. One thing that you first learn about, Native American history, storytelling, and heritage is that they have this great ability to pass on stories orally. And
it's a passion, it's a passion that you have to share. And so we're losing so many of our elders, and the elders are the ones with the stories, are the ones that are the great teachers. And now that a lot of them are gone, where are we going to go and find out, how to learn, whether it's the Native American cooking, but classes are great. And if they can give more classes and kids can learn from that, that's awesome too. Yeah.
Well, I know that I'll be going to you. And you're definitely one of the people that I'll be going to.
I'm just so happy that you came. I'm so glad you were able to be a part of this. And the museum, I know, was a great experience for you.
Oh, absolutely. And Sandra was so amazing. I think everyone that I've met were just so welcoming.
Oh, she's great. Hey, she's got some stories too. So don't let her tell you that she ain't got nothing to talk about, because I've known Sandy years. She also comes from a biker family.
Yeah, I found that out too when I was telling her about your biker background. She's like, "Oh yeah, I did that too." I'm like, "What? Who are you people?" Yeah. It was great. It was great. And she's gonna be on next week. We're hoping to schedule her next week to go over the whole grand opening of the museum and hear some of her stories. But yeah, you guys are, I really hope that more people take advantage of their conversations with people like you, with Sandy and others like you, because there's so much to just pass down and share. And I'm like Mikey and we're like sponges when it comes to this stuff. Just like we'll soak it all in. We love hearing these things and hearing, like all your experiences, because that's what we can take with us and pass on to the next generation after us. So
and we welcome tourists, because again, they're like sponges too. They just want to know so much in such little time, and they're fascinated with whatever, like you say, either the older culture, or even nowadays, the new things that are coming up. And so yeah, everybody that walks through that door doesn't leave, unless they learn something that they can take back home and share, whether it's the art or the conversation. We're all honored to have that.
Well, thank you. So, Mikey, you want to say this? Sorry.
Yeah, because in most of the interviews that we have done, it seems that everybody is like a information storage, and if you don't ask the right questions, maybe it'll get lost in the limbo. And we want to just have our audience hear from the other side. We can never expect something as such of a story coming from you. First time hearing this, I am astonished by the whole entire experience so far.
Yeah.
Well, you need to travel more with him, right?
Yeah. Well, Mikey was in Italy when I came down. That's why he couldn't come, because he was. Yeah. So, but yeah, next time we're coming down. Sandy and I are definitely planning some trips to the aviaries that you guys have, the Eagle aviaries, and I have to come down to visit that Cowboys ranch. So we're definitely going to be down there, and
that will be great. That will be awesome.
And if
like I said, there's so many people that I want to introduce you to also, whether it's in the music industry, or other storytellers. I mean, there's just so many people that you would find interesting. And I have a friend that's a great cook, Native American cooking. So, hey, when you meet him, you got to ask for samples.
Yeah, my inner fat self is already very excited just to hear that. And listen, if I'm in Oklahoma or in the 100-mile vicinity of you, I will come and pay you a visit.
And, you better.
And don't
There's a lot more to tell you.
absolutely. And listen, and I know you're. Thank you so much for making the time to speak with us while running running the gallery. Because for people that don't know, she is right now. White Antelope is right now sitting in her gallery. If you notice the artwork behind her, she's sitting in a gallery while Luna is guarding her.
But we locked the door. We put a sign on there. We're doing a newscast. Come back later.
Well, I very much appreciate that. And I don't want to take up more of your time, but please don't let this be the first and last by any means. It's hopefully it's the first of
you and I are
many
going
more.
to keep in touch, and you and I are going to do that run.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, it will be the most memorable thing you do, and you will absolutely love it. Definitely.
We're very much looking forward to it. You just let me know when and where.
But I'll put you in touch with Bobby.
Sure.
And you need to get, find out more about those runs. And yeah, we'll stay in touch for sure.
Absolutely. And just so for our audience, I would love for them to get know more about your art and maybe purchase them. Where can they find you? Do you have a website?
Yes, it's OklahomaNativeArt.com. Or you can just go to Oklahoma Native Art and we'll pop up on Google. And you can just go to the website. And I'm trying so hard to keep up with it. But I tell you, that's the hardest thing. My daughter said I need to get with the times. But I like the times I'm in before. I don't need to go further to the other times of websites and iPads and all this kind of stuff. I'm just barely getting into this stuff to understand. You're lucky to walk me through this podcast thing.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Well, we're definitely going to have all that information up and a lovely profile of you so that our viewers can have a little bit of a sneak peek, as well as some photos, more likely, of some of the art. And we're going to definitely put you out there.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's different when you tell somebody about the gallery as compared to someone like you who has already gone through it and said, oh yeah, there's definitely a lot to look at, and just so historic,
Absolutely.
Tanya, give me a card.
Absolutely. Plus they heard it from, as you say, from the horse's mouth. They've heard it from you. The artist and the owner of the gallery, and they saw some of the pieces that I had gotten from your gallery, and we'll put up the links with your on our site and our and our social media.
And I want to show you, this is our card. Can you see it?
Yes.
My model, her name is Thalia, and she's Comanche, and so it took years before I came up with this image to be able to have the perfect business card.
That's awesome.
And then that's our website.
And we will 100% put those up, and I'll email you so you can send me a scan of that card so we can put that up as well.
I will do that, and I appreciate you more than you can imagine. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Likewise, White Antelope. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure meeting you for the first time. And like I said, it's like I've known you for all my life. Thank you so much.
I know, and it's my pleasure too. Nice to meet you, Michael.
Yes.
And I hope to see you in person.
Yeah,
we'll definitely do that.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, Luna. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.